But the way we could always convince Thomas, like, okay, if you don't like it, sing it yourself. And then he went like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, in the beginning there was no stress at all, and because I was just writing some songs already 10 years ago, but it was like side project from other projects, so there was no stress at that time. So that was actually very easy. So I was just doing something, and I just knew I want to write something about the impact of humanity on each other and on nature, and I knew I wanted to release it as Throne of Thorns. But in the end, it was just like me writing some stuff. So I think it just started in 2018 when I asked Josey and Wim, Baruch and Guy to join me for the project, and then it really started. But we had at the same time it's a very long road, because I had a hearing trauma in 2018, so I couldn't write music for 9 months. Then we got into the studio for the vocals one day, and then it was COVID, and
we had 80% of one song.
Yeah, indeed, which was Atomic Retribution.
Yep.
And the second single actually was actually the first one in the studio, which was great. Yeah. And then we lost a lot of time because of COVID, and then we wanted to start again in the studio in September, and Josey tested positive the day before the recordings. So again, we had to reschedule everything. So it took some time, and then of course you sign with the record label, and then you have to queue. So it took 9 months for us to release the album. So we waited a lot, and
a lot of 9 months.
A lot of 9 months, yeah, indeed. So, but we are happy that we finally made it. Yeah, for sure.
I think we both.
Yeah.
I know when Thomas first approached me, which was actually before 2018, I think it was 2016 or something.
Yeah.
He had a very rough cut, of which I could make very little sense of. So it's different. It turned out a lot different.
Yeah.
It started as a one-man project for Thomas, and then he started evolving other people into it, which gave him feedback.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
which made it change, and each of us brought his own little color to the album.
I think everybody has a totally different background. That's a nice thing. Like, I'm more into the metal, but very broad, and then Josey is actually coming more from the hard rock, heavy metal. Then we had the drummer, who is more like in the dead and black, or piano player is more like in the jazz, but also prog metal. So that makes, in the end, that everybody has his own touch, and I think they are no professional musicians in the formal sense, let's say. But they are great musicians, and they can all have their input, and that is great. Yeah, some of the songs really evolved, and also in the beginning, like I said, a song is never finished for me, so it's always like it was. I think it was also 2017 that I said, okay, they are now more or less ready, but then I say, okay, I want to have like the orchestrations in it, and then I work like I have to commute 3 hours a day to get here for my job, for my real job. From my place, so I used the train rides to write all those orchestrations, which took 9 months to finish.
Again, 9 months.
Again, 9 months. It's always 9 months. So it's always 9 months indeed. So but the songs evolved, and also in the studio, like with Josey, also his vocals. He has a great voice, and we tested out quite a lot of things. And
I did a lot of things I'd never done before.
Yeah, but that's
and nice. In the spur of the moment, we kind of went with certain flows and certain voicings I hadn't done before. And also having Guy there, who's a vocalist as well.
I want to say that.
Did push me to try and do different things. Again, I hadn't done before, so it opened up things for me as well. As a singer. That was great.
It was very good to have Guy on board, because I'm a guitar player, and Josey said, yeah, you're writing vocals as you are playing guitar, but that is not possible with my voice or with a voice. And then it was Guy actually, who was actually the middleman between George and I, so he could translate my guitar parts to vocals, and we should change that and maybe take that note, and that was actually very useful to have him on board.
I know there were certain times I said, like, just let me do something, let me try something out, and Thomas go, no, I wrote it that way. So, yeah, I know you did, but I want to try something different, and then give it like, just let him try.
Yeah.
And then the other like, oh, okay.
Then it was good.
Yeah, oh, you can approach it like that as well. Yeah.
But it's always difficult when you have it in your head for already like 4 or 5 years. Like, I wanted to sound in that way, and it's really difficult, like in studio, to hear it another way. And probably it's even good or even better. But it's difficult for me, like, to switch it in like 1 minute, and then I had to listen to it in the evening a few times, and then I say, oh yeah, now I feel it. Now.
The way we could always convince Thomas, like, okay, if you don't like it, sing it yourself. And then he went like, okay, that's it.
The good thing is, like, I would say, yeah, there are a lot of good master guys in the world, but I think, like, I was really impressed, like the work he did for Dynasty, the work he did for Arch Enemy, and so on. I think you can go on. It's really a great audio engineer, a great studio guy, and the way that some stuff of the songs in the mix, in the final mix, we have so many layers that we say, okay, yeah, we lost them in the mix, so that's pity. So, and maybe sometimes I hear them because I wrote it, said, oh, it should be like a violin doing that, and then because I know it's there, then I hear it, but just when you don't know it, you don't hear it. And then suddenly it was like in the mastering, like, oh, it's there again.
Everything came back.
Yeah. So the dynamics of the song really changed, and that is really awesome. So yeah, I think Jacob was really important also for the end result. Yeah, for sure. Of course, Guy was also important because he was our producer mixer. So that was, I think, those two guys. I think it matched very well in the end. So yeah, it was great. Is there anyone that can tell why this one must go to? Yeah, I think the main concept for me by the album is actually that I wanted to write something about, first of all, or the megalomaniac nature of humanity towards natural processes. That's one thing, and how we are destroying the earth around us, but also how humans are interacting with each other. That's actually the baseline.
Destroying ourselves.
Or destroying ourselves. That's actually the baseline behind the album, and it can be about bullying, it can be about modern slavery, it's about war, it's about human kidnapping, like for instance Stormmaker is about kidnapping in Cambodia, for instance, which was really based on a documentary, Stormmakers, of Guillaume Swan. So that's actually the baseline behind all the songs, and I think it's really important. I don't want to say what people have to think, but I really want people to reflect on the songs. Many things are just written down in metaphors, so you can make sometimes your own story about it. Like, for instance, Atomic, we mentioned Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but it's mainly about the consequences of the leaders who are merely triggered by greed, and how normal people are actually acting as cannon fodder, I would say, in the struggle between kings. That's actually the story behind it. And how normal people have to deal with the consequences of that. So it's
where we see little evaluation in centuries.
Yeah.
We'll still tend on destroying ourselves and Mother Earth.
Yeah, we started it as a studio project. It was actually also in my head. That's also the reason I worked with people that are all involved in other bands. Josey Hindrix, and then he in Reject the Sickness. Then Wim is working in different bands, Baruch also. And also the band has grown kind of organically because I played the guitars and I played the bass. So it means that we actually need 1 or 2 extra guitar players, a bass player for live. The drummer has back issues, so he can't play live. He can only do the studio work for a limited amount of time. So actually we should rearrange the band, which is also quite challenging already. But then everybody who is actually involved is also playing in other projects. We are not professional, we all have full-time jobs next to our work, and we have bustling family lives. So at this moment it's really difficult to see how we are able to combine it, also because the songs are they are quite challenging, but that's not the main issue for me. But we really want to give ourselves 100% when we go live. And as long as we don't have the feeling that we can do it 100%, I think we are actually kind of dishonoring the organization, but mainly the crowd and also ourselves in the end. And I think that the crowd at this point deserves more than that. But I'm not talking about the far future. We will see, but I don't think it will be in 2024. We must be realistic too. So
we have to face up to the fact that if we want to bring full respect to the album we've made, we need a lot of musicians. It would be a big project to organize, to get it on the road, and there is inevitably always the financial problem that comes with that. And at this moment in time, we also have to be honest about it. We don't have the finances to bring this to a stage
the
way we want it. Yeah, I know people who say, yeah, well, a lot of bands play with backing tracks, and yeah, but to a certain degree, we don't want to do. I mean, the two of us could just go out there and just put all the rest on a backing track, and he'll play some guitar and I'll sing some lyrics, and that'll be it. And I know there are people out there that do that, but we don't feel comfortable to do that.
We do have. I do have some material left. Like in the beginning, actually, we had 14 songs, and I selected 8 of them, and that's actually what you mentioned. Also, we made the greatest hits of those 14. So it would be strange to use the other 6 now for the second album, because I thought they were not as good as the other 8. Let's say. So,
but nonetheless, there are ideas that can certainly be reworked, as every band does. And we've been talking about it, and we have some ideas that we might explore.
I can't put an exact timing on it now.
We don't have a definite decision, but we working together over the last 4 years, because that has been in intervals. It has been 4 years. We do feel that we have a very healthy working relationship with everybody that is involved in the project. So we do feel like it'd be a waste if we didn't do more together. Saying that, Throne of Thorns is an idea. Working on a second album for Throne of Thorns is an idea, but we've been exploring other things as well. For instance, Thomas and Guy are also working on a side project, which is called
Deus Animus.
Yeah, I always get that wrong.
I just started the official recordings yesterday.
So things are growing out of that working relationship, which is great, and we do feel that we do have a affinity to do a second album. Given time and given enough inspiration, and I think in the end, when we see the end product, we all feel that like we've excelled in what we've done. So we know that if we want to bring a second album, it'll need to meet the grade.
It'll better be good.
That's it.
Yeah, it is. But we still have a lot of ideas. But the problem is that I never fix to a certain style in my writing process, even not for Throne of Thorns. I just write just as it comes, I'm not starting with a heavy metal riff and then thinking, oh yeah, it should be heavy metal. No, and I think like I will put an Eastern part in it, or just a piano. I just do it, just how it feels. It grows organically. So that makes that also during COVID, I wrote a lot of music, but not everything fits in Throne of Thorns. So I had to split it in 3 different projects. So I wrote like 4 full albums now, and none of them is for Throne of Thorns already, but I have a lot of ideas. But the thing is, like for Throne of Thorns, like when we would make it a second album, it would be a totally different process than the first one. Like now it was actually, a one-man project, and then we came with Josey and the other band members, and they all have their input, of course, but a lot of stuff was already written, and I think when we will do it now, I think it will be much more interactive. And also for you, I think when you have to sing, it's much easier when you really feel yourself how the vocals should sound, or the vocal line should be on a certain guitar riff. It's totally different than just somebody that's saying, "Oh, I want you to sing it that way." That's much more difficult to do.
Yeah, I mean, all the vocal lines were pretty much written out, and I didn't follow those, so you know.
For watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.